We all know that football at the top level could not survive without non-league. But there's one particular non-league team nestled in a small Hamburg suburb, which I think has made a bigger contribution than most. So for the start of our story, we have to go back to 1974. In the summer of that year, in front of their home fans, West Germany had picked up their second World Cup. Meanwhile, a small Hamburg district club under the name of Heisfeld Barmbek Uhlenhorst had just been placed in the second division following a nationwide league reform. And little did anyone know that this tiny Hamburg club would be essential into writing the next chapter of German football history. Barmbek Uhlenhorst, or BU as they're more commonly known in Hamburg, didn't spend long in the second division, 9 months to be precise. But it was a lot worse than just relegation. Their cameo in the second division left them in 500,000 Deutsche Marks worth of debt, about €1 million in today's money. But amongst all the darkness was one shining light, and that shining light was called Andreas Brehme. So Andreas Brehme was a left back who had been at the club since he was just 5 years old and was the son of longtime coach Bernd Brehme. In 1978, with Uhlenhorst in the third tier and having no money to make any signings, a 17-year-old Andreas Brehme was given his chance. And it became obvious pretty quickly that Brehme was no ordinary player. He was a natural left footer, but he was just as good on his right. He was a master at dead balls and set pieces, and he had one of the most powerful shots ever seen by a defender. It's probably no surprise then that Brehme managed 10 goals in 66 league games in a struggling team from left back. And it was also probably no surprise that with stats like that, he was due a big move. And in 1980, he'd get it, moving to second tier side FC Saarbrücken. Brehme spent just 1 season in the Saarland before moving to Bundesliga giants FC Kaiserslautern. His first couple of seasons were solid, but he would soon become the main man. In 1984-85, he netted 11 league goals in 33 games from left back and earned himself a call-up to Germany's 1984 Euro squad. Inevitably, for 2 million marks, he would join Bayern Munich in 1986, becoming the second most expensive German player ever. Brehme had 2 decent seasons at Bayern Munich before going to Inter Milan to join up with fellow countrymen Lothar Matthäus and Jürgen Klinsmann. And Brehme hit the ground running, with him being an integral part of Inter's 1989 Serie A win. But he'd be an even more integral part in Germany's 1990 World Cup campaign. After breezing through the groups undefeated, Brehme's late goal against the Netherlands saw Germany through to the quarter-finals, where they would scrape past Czechoslovakia. In the semi-finals, Brehme was once again the hero, scoring Germany's only goal in a 1-1 draw with England, before dispatching the final penalty in the shootout to send his country to the final. In the 85th minute, the final was 0-0, an utterly dull affair. But then, Germany got a penalty. And who else but Andreas Brehme stepped up? He fired it into the bottom corner with his right foot, sending the World Cup back to Germany for the 3rd time. Barmbek Uhlenhorst's most famous son had just won the World Cup for Germany. After the World Cup, Brehme would continue to be an integral part of that Germany team until 1994, when he officially retired from international duty. In club football, he went on to pick up a UEFA Cup with Inter before moving to Spanish side Real Zaragoza, before returning to Kaiserslautern to finish his career, where he picked up a Bundesliga and a DFB Pokal. And whilst Barmbek Uhlenhorst's diamond saw loads of success, unfortunately, the same could not be said for the club. In 1984, just 3 years after Brehme left, BU found themselves in the 6th division. And to be honest, they've never really found their way back up. They've been a 5th tier team for most of the last 40 years, but recently they've struggled, with them being in the 6th tier for the last 3 seasons. And the story gets even sadder. In 2024, Andreas Brehme suddenly passed away from a heart attack. But in an interview done a year prior to his death, he said that Barmbek Uhlenhorst was integral to all the success he achieved. And so today we're actually going to go and watch them. We're going to see what remains of Brehme's legacy. We're going to see what the fans think of him. We're going to check out the stadium and watch some football and have some beers, and it's going to be a lovely time. So let's get inside. So yeah, just got in. Ticket was only €4, which, by the way, decent price. There's a decent attendance, I'd say. I'd say there's a good, I don't know, maybe 300 people here, which, again, for the 6th division, bearing in mind in Germany, the 6th division isn't like it is in England. It's 6th division in Germany is pretty much a step above Sunday League. I would imagine these are probably the only semi-professional team in this league. Yeah, first impressions really good. A beer was only €4. Bearing in mind as well, there's a lot of German football clubs. You tend to find that what they do is they do like 400ml or lower down, which I was kind of expecting here. They do like little bottles and just buy them at the shop and just sell them for a quid profit. But no, here they've got a proper bar, decent beer as well, and they're serving it in pints. This is the first time I've seen a pint glass in about, pint cup in about 8 months. I forgot how big they are. It's like a fucking jug. When I got in, I spoke to an old man who I didn't understand. He was speaking German to me, and my German is okay at best, and I couldn't understand a word he was saying, but he seemed very nice. Their first impression, it's a nice little ground. I would have thought there would have been more either side. I didn't think there'd just be one stand. I thought there'd be a bit more than this. I've got to be honest, I did think it'd be a little bit bigger. I get they're in the 6th tier, but they're bigger than the 6th tier. But it's a nice little gaff. Everyone's been really friendly, cheap beer. There's a little click over there, which I'll go and join later. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy my beer, and then I'll go and join the active support later. Uhlenhorst just given away one of the most obvious penalties I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely no idea what was going through his head there. That was some fucking cock up from their lad. So he passed it out and he scuffed it. Passed it out and he scuffed it, and he just had to absolutely fucking poleaxe him because he would have been through on goal. That was the most obvious, blatant penalty I've ever seen in my life. I'm surprised he only got booked for it though, which was a little bit surprising because that probably should have been a red card. But yeah, 1-0 Altona is fine. And immediately it's 1-1. An absolute fucking cock up from their defender now. Literally 90 seconds after Altona scored for the most blatant penalty I've ever seen, the keeper and defender just fucking stopped thinking. Defender missed it, keeper went for it, it hit him and just dribbled in. The slowest goal I've ever seen, it just dribbled over the line in slow motion, but they all count. 1-1. Been absolutely treated to a class game here. Another defensive clanger has put Altona 2-1 up. Altona's 2-1 up. Yeah, total defensive clanger. Rounded the keeper, tapped it in. This is a very much game of an attack. The defence might as well not be there with all 3 of them goals. There's going to be a good few more goals in this. Hopefully I managed to film some of them. Remember when I said there's definitely going to be more goals, and remember when I said I hope I don't miss them. There has been more goals and I have missed them. Barmbek have just scored, so it's 2-2 before half time. The last 2 games I've filmed have both been 0-0, I'm pretty sure. But this one is an absolute cracker. For half time, 2-2. I said earlier, it's been a fantastic game. I was not expecting much from the match. Mid-table dead rubber between 2 6th tier sides, but credit to him, it's been pretty fucking entertaining. The support, there's a decent amount, and they've got a drum, but they're not using it for some reason. I don't know why. There's a fellow with a drum, he's just not banging it. They're also playing old school theme tunes. That last one, I don't know if you could hear it, that was like the pack opening song from FIFA 15. That one, you'll know what I mean. I'll put a clip over it if you can't hear it. And now they're playing this, which is one of the most synonymous FIFA songs ever. I can't remember what FIFA it's off. 12 is it? I don't know. I'm an old man, I'm senile. Let me know in the comments. I also promised you earlier that I would tell you about the stadium because the story that's a little bit interesting. So their old ground was called the Wilhelm Ruprecht Platz, and it was opened in 1925, which was 2 years after the club was formed. Had a capacity of about 7,000, and it actually looked like a really nice ground. And it was actually nicknamed the Anfield of Hamburg. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, they played 2nd division there. They also played 2nd division back in the 60s as well. Their early years, Barmbek Uhlenhorst, were actually quite successful. Into the 80s and the 90s, obviously the club started struggling quite a bit financially. The financial hangover from being in the 2nd division in that 1974 season took its toll, I think. And obviously at the start, as I mentioned, they fell down the leagues. However,
another problem with that is that, yes, falling down the leagues is one thing, but to have an old stadium which is way too big for you is a recipe for disaster. And so in 2016 they decided to kill two birds with one stone. Instead of renovating their old way too big stadium, they decided to knock it down, take the money that the city gave them for building housing on there and build a new place relatively close by. So they knocked it down in 2016 and they built this place, which is called the Stadion an der Dieselstrasse, which translates in English to Stadium on Diesel Street, with a capacity of 2k, which was, you know, a lot closer to the realistic attendances that they'd be getting now. But to be fair, considering how it's only 9 years old, it feels cultured. There's like stickers everywhere, there's murals everywhere. If I didn't know that this place was only 9 years old, I wouldn't have guessed it. And that's not in a bad way. They've done a really, really good job of keeping the heart in the club when they move. Now, second half's about to start. I'm going to stand up, I'm going to get another beer, I'm going to join the louder fans, and yeah, hopefully we see 4 more goals as we did in the first half.
So contrary to the first half, the second half, nothing has happened. Literally nothing. Oh! Ooh! I say that, then they scored. But then again, it's on a knife edge, 2-2. 3-2. Late on as well. Also, while I've been filming here, I've just hit 8k on TikTok. Thanks to the Zank Pally fan who I was talking to, who I asked to follow. We'll ignore that bit. If you watch this YouTube and don't follow my TikTok, give it a follow. It's good. So the game has finished. It ended Barmbek Uhlenhorst 3, Alternates 2. And well, in terms of the match, I thought that the first half was fucking unbelievable. Considering how I've spent the last, 2-3 games I've watched 0-0, to see 4 goals in the first half, I mean, can't complain with that, can you? Second half, a little bit more boring. On the whole though, as I said, it's a nice little ground. You couldn't tell it was essentially brand new. It's got soul about it, which is really good, which you don't see a lot in new stadiums. However, I was a little bit surprised how there was a good support. That was what surprised me, there was a good support. However, they were really quiet. I don't know why. On the whole though, it was a great experience, really cheap, cool little ground, nice fan base, great game, you know, all them things are brilliant. However, another reason why we went was to see, is Bremer's legacy still living on there, and, you know, do they see him as their most famous son? And the answer is yes. They absolutely love him. You get the real sense that he is their most famous son. They're so proud to have created one of Germany's best players ever. There was literally pictures of him everywhere, you know, his World Cup winning goal, pictures of him in the squad when he was young. He's worshipped, and rightly so. But for now, from me and from Barmbek Uhlenhorst, it's bye-bye.